Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we are breaking down a massive friction point that's just erupted between the Indian government and WhatsApp. We're not just skimming the headlines here, folks. We're going to meticulously unpack the technical, administrative, and statutory dimensions of this whole debate. Basically, we're going to explain this comprehensively, just like UPSC mains notes. Let's jump right in.
First up on the agenda, we'll look at the July 2026 notice, then WhatsApp's new username feature, followed by the administrative and security concerns. After that, we'll check out WhatsApp's inbuilt safeguards, and finally, wrap up with the whole legal intermediary debate.
All right, Section 1, the July 2026 notice, a government intervenes.
You know, whenever you mix global communication features with national regulatory frameworks, you almost always get immediate friction. It's kind of just a given. When a platform with this kind of massive reach decides to alter how users identify themselves, well, the state naturally steps in, right? They have to balance user privacy against national security and fraud prevention.
And just look at the sheer speed of this regulatory action. Literally on July 1, 2026, the Union government, specifically MIT, fired off a formal notice to Meta demanding they halt the rollout of this new username feature. Just 2 days later, July 3rd, WhatsApp officials were already pulled into emergency meetings with a formal written response due the very next day. The government absolutely treated this like a full-blown administrative emergency.
Moving on to Section 2, WhatsApp's new username feature and how it actually works.
So WhatsApp is pitching these usernames as a way to chat without having to hand over your actual phone number. Instead of giving your personal 10-digit number to a complete stranger, they just see your chosen username. At its core, this whole thing is designed to protect your privacy and keep your primary contact info out of the wrong hands.
But there are some really specific architectural limits here. First off, it's totally optional. And second, and this is a big one, there is no public search directory. You can't just endlessly scroll and browse for people. To connect with someone, you actually have to know their exact specific username. WhatsApp built it this way intentionally, so people can't just be randomly looked up, which is a pretty smart way to prevent mass spamming.
Okay, Section 3, administrative and security concerns, and essentially, Mighty's stance on all this. From an administrative and law enforcement point of view, Mighty's argument is that hiding phone numbers strips away a vital layer of accountability. They're worried this feature is going to cause a massive spike in online fraud. Specifically, they're looking at the impersonation of public authorities, financial institutions, and government agencies. If bad actors can just grab usernames that look exactly like official entities, Mighty argues it's opening the floodgates for phishing attacks and those digital arrest scams we've been seeing everywhere lately.
And hey, this isn't just government bureaucrats sounding the alarm. Tech insiders are worried too. Bipen Preet Singh, the founder of MobiKwik, flat out said, "Not a good idea at all, will lead to proliferation of fraud and impersonation." He actually pointed out that variations of his own name had already been snatched up by potential imposters. So that's a real-world, immediate example of exactly the kind of threat Mighty is stressing about.
Plus, it's crucial to understand this isn't just an isolated crackdown on Meta. Right after the WhatsApp notice, MIT fired off similar notices to Telegram, Signal, and Aratha. So the government is clearly taking a broad, sweeping policy stance against phone number concealment across all these messaging platforms. They're targeting the mechanism itself, not just singling out one app.
Now for Section 4, WhatsApp's inbuilt safeguards and how they're mitigating these risks.
So how is WhatsApp defending against this potential fraud wave? Well, to stop people from impersonating public figures or the government, a spokesperson said they've preemptively reserved specific handles for prominent personalities, celebs, and verified Meta accounts. Also, if you get a message from a hidden number, the app is going to display the sender's country of origin and let you know if they're already in your phone book. That gives you immediate context clues about who's actually sliding into your DMs.
On top of that, they've built in this optional two-step mechanism for anyone really worried about unsolicited messages. Step 1, you can set a personal PIN. Step 2, if you do that, even if someone figures out your username, they still can't message you unless they also know that PIN. So, just having the username isn't enough. They literally need an extra layer of offline consent to reach you.
Let's transition to Section 5, the legal intermediary debate, and ask, can the state actually dictate features?
Just look at this massive number, 800 million, or 80 crore. That is the estimated user base of WhatsApp in India. A scale that large isn't just a fun business metric, it's the fundamental trigger for how the platform is legally classified and regulated in the country.
Because WhatsApp blows right past the 50 lakh, or 5 million user threshold, the government categorizes it as a significant social media intermediary, or SSMI, under the IT rules of 2021. And being an SSMI is a huge deal. It means WhatsApp is legally bound by highly strict due diligence obligations. They aren't just a simple chat app anymore. They're considered critical communication infrastructure under specific statutory oversight.
So Métis' notice leans heavily on the IT Act of 2000. Specifically, they're pointing to Section 66C, which tackles identity theft, and Section 66D, which is all about cheating by personation. Métis' argument is that if a feature enables impersonation, it actively violates those laws. They also bring up Section 79, which covers safe harbor. Basically, Métis is saying, look, you only get safe harbor if you observe due diligence, and we think this feature totally bypasses that.
But there's a fierce legal debate brewing over how to actually interpret these statutes. On one hand, you have MIT asserting the government absolutely has to enforce due diligence to stop fraud. On the other side, digital rights advocates like the Internet Freedom Foundation, the IFF, completely disagree. The IFF argues that Section 79 is meant to protect platforms from user liability, not give the government veto power over a product feature before it even launches. They're saying the notice treats the launch of a perfectly lawful feature as some kind of wrongdoing the company has to justify.
Which ultimately leaves us with one critical, unanswered question. Where exactly is the line between proactive government security and a private tech platform's autonomy? Because this isn't just about a simple update, right? This is a fundamental statutory clash. How we ultimately balance a user's right to privacy with the state's mandate to prevent digital fraud is absolutely going to set a major precedent for the future of digital communication. So what do you think? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I'll catch you in the next one.